Discover a incrível moment. A young boy saved an elderly woman. Uncover the billionaire's son's struggle with guilt and regret. Jacob, a kind-hearted 9-year-old, trudged through the brisk autumn air, arms laden with grocery bags for his mother's latest delivery. He was used to the chill creeping in and out of his bones, but today felt different, mightier. As he balanced the heavy bags, he spotted Mrs. Henderson's solitary home draped in the quiet shadows of late afternoon. A pang of worry shot through him. He hadn't seen her in days. With a resolute heart, he made his way to the porch, a silent prayer on his lips for her companionship. But that prayer turned into a scream when he found her crumpled on the ground. Panic seized him, hot and sudden. The world shrank, and the grocery bags slipped from his fingers, cascading to the ground like forgotten hope. Mrs. Henderson lay, frail and silent, a bitter reminder of vulnerability. Thoughts rushed through his mind, his mother's lessons on caring for the elderly, the countless television shows depicting rescues. This was no time for hesitation. His hands trembled as he pulled out his phone, dialing 911 with urgency. What if he couldn't remember the first aid they'd taught in school? What if it was too late? His breath came in short bursts, every second feeling like an eternity as he knelt beside her. "Please, hold on, Mrs. Henderson," he whispered, wiping falling tears mixed with the cold breeze. He felt helpless, yet every instinct told him to act, to keep talking, to keep her alive. There was no turning back. He was in this moment with no way out except forward. Meanwhile, Ethan Harrington, Mrs. Henderson's estranged son, was cruising through childhood streets that felt both familiar and foreign. The sleek hum of his luxury car contrasted sharply with the worn asphalt that had known simpler times. The news of his mother's troubling health flickered through his mind, filling him with a dread he hadn't felt in years. Guilt gripped his gut when he remembered his selfish pursuit of wealth, leaving his mother behind like an afterthought. The void of their connection haunted him, a cacophony of regret echoing louder with the farther he drove from life in that small town. As the ambulance whisked Mrs. Henderson away from her home, whispers flew through the town like wildfire, lauding Jacob's heroic actions. Local chatter echoed in Ethan's ears, amplifying his own sense of inadequacy. He clenched the steering wheel, his heart racing, as he became acutely aware of the divide between himself and that brave little boy whose genuine heart shone faintly in the murky light of guilt. Every accolade Jacob received was a reminder of the time wasted, of missed birthdays, unreturned calls, and faded laughter. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. Yet, the urge to reach out propelled him forward, igniting a burning desire to reconcile. Ethan glanced at Jacob, who was now animatedly chatting with the nurse, his youthful enthusiasm unmarred by the grim realities of life. Jacob's laughter sliced through the heavy atmosphere like a ray of light, stirring a deep yearning within Ethan. A yearning not only to build a bridge back to his mother, but also to shape a version of himself that could exist in the light of his son's bravery and compassion. What if he allowed that light to guide him? He took a few tentative steps toward Jacob. Each step was an act of redemption, a willingness to confront his failure and strive for a new beginning. He could not undo the past, but he could still fight for a future. The rapport he saw budding between Jacob and Mrs. Henderson made his heart swell with longing. That connection was the very thing he needed to seek. As he approached, he felt the palpable tension of uncertainty mixed with determination flood his veins. "Jacob," he said, the boy's name feeling foreign on his tongue. The child turned, his wide eyes reflecting innocent curiosity. For a moment, time seemed to slow down. Ethan held his breath, noticing the deeper lessons shimmering beneath the surface. Lessons of choice, courage, and the profound impact of genuine connection. "What do you think I should do?" he blurted out, realizing he stood at the precipice of a decision that could reinvent his identity. Jacob, for all his youth, seemed to possess clarity and resolve. But the child simply shrugged, his brow furrowing as if he had been tasked with a monumental request. "Just be honest," he finally replied. Ethan nodded, for the weight of truth felt heavy yet liberating. He had been encumbered by layers of pretense for far too long. It was time to strip them away. He took another deep breath, feeling the gears of transformation begin to turn within him. It was now or never. "What if it all goes wrong?" he mused, thoughts racing as he prepared for a leap of faith. But before he could venture down that path of anxiety and doubt, a voice chimed from behind. In that instant, an unexpected reality loomed on the horizon, promising clarity or devastation. "Ethan, is that you?" He turned, heart racing, his mind spinning with the ramifications of the confrontation unraveling before him. Would it be confusion or resolution? Would he finally face the remnants of his past, or be consumed by them? The moment of truth was upon him, urging his next move. Ethan pivoted on his heel, his breath hitching in his throat as he faced the source of that familiar voice. There she stood, Sarah, his mother, looking visibly older than the last time he had seen her. The lines on her face were deeper, and her eyes, once vibrant, seemed clouded with experience and pain. For a brief moment, his heart ached with a mix of longing and dread. The confrontation he had been deferring for far too long was finally upon him. "Mum," he managed, the word escaping like a hesitant whisper. She regarded him with cautious acknowledgment, uncertainty swirling in her gaze. The air thickened with unsaid words, each hovering like a ghost of their shared history. The years of separation stretched out like a vast ocean between them, filled with storms of resentment, silence, and lost opportunities. In the silence of that hallway, their past loomed large, an insurmountable barrier. "What are you doing here?" she asked, not unkindly, but with the distance of one who had been forced to learn to navigate life alone. Ethan's mind raced. The simplicity of her question belied the complex emotions surging within him. He had come to apologize, to reconnect, yet now the words felt stuck in his throat. How could he convey the depth of the remorse that had consumed him over the years? I wanted to see you," he confessed finally. Each syllable seemed to bear the weight of his failures, the missed opportunities echoing loudly in his ears. "See me?" The incredulity in her tone struck like lightning. "After all this time, you think you can just walk in and pretend everything is okay?" He flinched at her words, the sting of truth cutting deep. This was not just a confrontation, it was a reckoning. She had every right to be angry, to push him away, yet a part of him refused to be cast aside. The desire to mend what had been broken surged through him, and with it came an unexpected resolve. I know I messed up, Mom. I'm not here to make excuses," he said, taking a step forward despite the tremor in his voice. "I regret the time I lost, the birthdays, Christmases, everything. I want to make it right." Her expression softened slightly, but remained guarded. "It's not that simple, Ethan. So much has happened, and you being here doesn't change that." "I understand that," he replied, urgency threading through him. "But I want to try. I'm willing to listen. Say whatever you need to say." The vulnerability in his offer was both terrifying and liberating. He realized as he stood there that vulnerability itself was a bridge, one he could extend to his mother. Ethan opened his heart, revealing the pain that had shadowed him in solitude. He spoke about his own battles with isolation and ambition. Caught in the riptide of his career, he had neglected the people who mattered most. "I let fear of failure hold me back from being a son, from being someone you could rely on." As he poured out his soul, he saw the fragile flicker of something within her, an inkling of possibility, perhaps. The moment hung in the air, charged with tension. What if her heart remained closed? What if his confession only served to widen the chasm between them? Would he be brave enough to risk rejection? "Ethan," she finally said, her voice quivering, both stern and soft, as if struggling to maintain composure. "You don't get to just decide it's time to fix things because it's convenient for you."
Eles agora seriam guia de estilo e instruções para a síntese de fala. Fears and the past. Can we face this together? The courage required to follow through on their commitment to honesty existed not just in the grand gestures, but in every step along the way. He looked at Sarah, who stood a few paces behind, her expression a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. They were both poised at the edge of something transformative, requiring them to lean into discomfort. "Sarah," Ethan called, his voice steady, "can we, take a step further into this? I mean, I need to know what we're really looking for here." She stepped closer, her brow furrowing slightly. "What do you mean?" "I've bottled up so much," he confessed, scrunching his eyes shut for a fleeting moment. "And while I'm ready to dig deep, I can't do it alone. I want to know what you think, what you feel about everything we've gone through." A heavy silence descended, as if the very trees held their breath. Ethan felt exposed, casting yet another line into murky waters. Would she reciprocate his honesty and meet him where he stood, or would there be resistance? I've been scared too," Sarah admitted at last, her voice low but firm. "It's like we've both built walls instead of reaching out. I thought maybe if we just ignored it long enough, we could keep moving forward." A heavy silence descended, as if the very trees held their breath. Ethan felt exposed, casting yet another line into murky waters. Would she reciprocate his honesty and meet him where he stood, or would there be resistance? I've been scared too," Sarah admitted at last, her voice low but firm. "It's like we've both built walls instead of reaching out. I thought maybe if we just ignored it long enough, we could keep moving forward." An unwelcome sense of relief washed over him. Here it was, the real treasure of this moment. They were not alone in their struggle. If they both acknowledged their fears, perhaps they could face the past together. Ethan took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of vulnerability. "What fears hold you back from reaching out to me?" Sarah's eyes glittered with suppressed emotion. "I worry that if I share too much, I might push you further away. What if you can't handle it? What if it changes everything?" A flicker of concern knotted in Ethan's stomach, but he also felt a swell of determination. "It's already changed, hasn't it? We can't avoid it anymore. Let's make this our adventure, our real treasure hunt." As they exchanged a glance filled with something akin to hope, Ethan sensed the tide shifting. With Jacob's laughter echoing through the grove, the boy no longer felt like a mere observer, but the catalyst for a life-changing dialogue. The stakes felt higher now. They needed to fortify this moment, solidify their alliance. "Okay," Sarah finally acquiesced, her voice a whisper wrapped in resolve. "Let's start, but I want you to promise me something." "What?" "That we won't stop until we've uncovered everything, no matter how painful." He nodded, feeling the seriousness of the moment seep into his bones. "I promise. We face it together, every bit of it." Beneath the ancient oak, in the heart of the grove, a new chapter awaited them. Yet, as Ethan looked deeper into Sarah's eyes, a creeping fear pricked the edges of his certainty. What if they unearthed more than they bargained for? What truths might shatter the fragile facade they had been upholding?
They were ready to dig, but he could feel the tremors of the past lurking just below the surface. What exactly were they about to unearth, and could they really handle the treasures, both beautiful and ugly, that lay ahead? As Ethan stood on the cusp of this profound revelation, with the weight of unspoken fears swirling within him, he felt an unexpected alignment settle between him and Sarah. The moment was fraught with tension and possibility. They had both agreed to seek truth, but what lay ahead was uncharted territory. A journey toward transformation that could either solidify their bond or expose vulnerabilities once thought buried forever. "Let's unearth the truths," he said, grounding himself in resolve. "Let's acknowledge each layer of our history, brick by brick." Sarah nodded slowly, her expression shifting from apprehension to determination. "I'm ready. I want to be brave, but it might hurt." Ethan took a step closer, sensing the urgency of their connection deepening. Growth comes from facing that pain, right? With Jacob's exuberant shouts drifting faintly in the background, Sarah considered his words. "I've held on to bitterness about being abandoned for so long. I thought I could protect myself by building walls between us. But I see now that those walls only kept us apart." The sincerity in her voice struck a chord in Ethan's heart. He too had cloaked himself in armor, self-serving ambition that thrived in distance from those he loved most. Their shared realization marked a pivotal shift. Facing the uncomfortable truth together created an opportunity for healing. "I carried that same fear," he admitted, wading deeper into vulnerability. "The fear of not being enough, of failing you and Jacob. I became so focused on my career, stacking successes, that I lost sight of what mattered most." Their eyes locked, a mutual understanding coursing between them like a current. They were both ready to break the cycle. The promise of growth hung heavy in the air, echoing Jacob's innocent pursuit of treasure. "Then let's promise each other we will embrace the pain," Sarah ventured, her voice steady. "To truly move forward, we must be transparent about everything, especially our fears." "Agreed," Ethan replied, feeling a rush of conviction.
We can't allow fear to keep us stagnant. This is our chance to rediscover one another and ourselves. Taking a deep, grounding breath, Ethan reached for her hand, their fingers intertwining, a physical display of their commitment to this journey. Stefan could feel the warmth of her hand seep into him, a gentle reminder that they were not alone on this trek into vulnerability. But suddenly, the weight of the moment felt heavier as doubt flickered through the air. They were standing on the precipice of something monumental, yet the shadows of the past loomed large. What if we dig too deep? Sarah mused aloud. What if we unearth things that should have remained buried?
For a moment, weight of her words slumped his shoulders. We have to take that risk. We can't protect ourselves from every hurt. It's time to embrace the rawness of it all. As they glanced toward Jacob, who was still busy pretending to discover buried treasure, Ethan felt a newfound resolve building. Their son was a constant reminder that life's greatest rewards often arise from the most challenging explorations. Together, he said again, forcing the gravity of their commitment into the forefront. This is about more than just us. This is about modeling resilience for Jacob. In that instant, an undeniable shift enveloped them both. It was no longer just about the painful truths they might encounter, but about the strength they could cultivate as a united front. It was about crafting a legacy of healing within their family, one that showed Jacob how to confront life's complexities armed with courage and honesty. We'll expose the treasures of our experiences, the beautiful and the painful, Sarah echoed, her voice infused now with a resolve that resonated with Ethan. Let's build something new. From here on out, we'll be explorers in our own lives. The weight of their shared acknowledgement breathed life into an unexpected sense of freedom. A thrill of possibility coursed through Ethan. If they could confront the shadows of their past, they held the keys to write a new narrative, one that embraced both love and vulnerability. Let's start today, right now, he suggested, turning to the tree that symbolized both their mission and their fears. Let's carve our commitment into this bark, a promise to face everything together. They approached the ancient oak, and with trembling hands, each took a small rock, beginning to form words aimed at solidifying their commitment. As Jacob's joyful laughter drifted closer, Ethan realized this journey wasn't just about healing in the present, it was the foundation for their future. Here lies our truth. We will nurture love through honesty, face pain with courage, and reclaim our bond. Sarah, heart open and resolute, echoed his sentiments into the bark. The act felt sacred, a rite of passage symbolizing their dedication to evolve not just as individuals, but as partners. As they stepped back to admire their work, a ripple of excitement surged within Ethan. The truths he had feared were now pathways to growth, bridging the chasm that had once divided them. They were excavating the very essence of connection, an uncharted territory propelling them into a brighter horizon. They turned to Jacob, who stood watching with wide eyes. "What did you find, Dad?" he asked, innocence radiating from his small frame. Ethan knelt before him, tears glistening in his eyes. "We discovered ourselves, Jacob. The real treasure is being honest and brave. It's about holding on to love and letting go of fear."
With vos, Sarah chimed in, sua voz soft, a whisper of encouragement mixed with known-found strength. We'll continue to explore the depths of who we are and how we can be better for each other. Jacob's smile lit up the grove. That sounds awesome! When are we going treasure hunting again? Ethan and Sarah exchanged glances filled with shared satisfaction, their hearts aligned in purpose. "As often as we need to, buddy," Ethan responded, a grin crossing his lips. "Together we'll be treasure hunters forever." With Jacob hugging them both, a palpable energy welled between the three of them. They stood united in their exploration, hearts intertwined, ready to face life's adventures. The hidden treasures awaiting them, not just in the earth, but in their lives and love. And as they walked back toward the grove's exit, the sun began its descent, bathing the landscape in golden light, a promise of the beginnings to come and the commitment they had made to embrace every moment, unearthing treasures both great and small. Together they would navigate this new course, one where love flourished with authenticity, and their family's story transformed into that of hope, adventure, and enduring connection. Now was their moment, ripe with possibility. They would tackle the depths of vulnerability and emerge stronger, creating a legacy of resilience that spanned generations. Each step they took forward reaffirmed that they were more than just individuals. They were a unit, united in adulthood, love, and the commitment to keep exploring life together. You need to subscribe now to never miss an exclusive emotional story like this one. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your love for personal transformation tales. Comment your reactions and theories about this journey and the revelations unveiled. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to spread the inspiration.